When you light a match and find yourself in the belly of a whale, do you fight to claw your way out, or do you lay down for the juices?
What first sparked our interest was her sudden disappearance. We've investigated many cases like this, but never anyone this young. Records show an enrollment in various institutions of higher learning with a particular focus on environmentally engaged art. This is usually a sign that one is seeking to aid in melting down capitalism. All rivers lead to the ocean. The interference agency put its first tap on her when they noticed people were referring to her as fern. Any form of self-renaming and sudden identification with nature is cause for their concern. Their entire system of domination is predicated on humans unknowing themselves.
Yeah, I was working on a farm with her one winter, and I just started calling her Fern. Sort of came out of nowhere. And this was around the time she was infatuated with that question mark suit man. He ran around Washington, D.C., screaming about getting people free money. She must have worn that Fern suit for like 10 years straight. Just knocking on doors and handing out pamphlets.
I'm Penny Boggs. I'm a spiritual botanist. I propagate rare fern species out of my home and I make time-lapse microscopic films. Fern, yeah, she showed up at my door wearing this bright orange suit one day, and I said, "Well, you must be the apprentice I was asking for." She crossed my threshold, and quite frankly, there was no going back. We spent many nights together watching my microscopic videos of spore capsules bursting open and throwing their spores out to the wind. They float around until they find a place to put down roots.
Excerpt from a journal entry. They became alive, no longer just little brown dots on a leaf that I could easily pluck and toss away. Each dot contained an entire bustling family. One frame of the video in particular struck me. I saw an angelic being with an orb hovering in its hands. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was devoted.
She made a mask once out of this metal plate that she found in my lab. I used it to hold frond clippings.
I'll shed my suit like a skin. The more I see, the less I know. I've become ashamed of my human face. Oh, how long I walk the streets attempting to camouflage their business uniform, a sheep in wolf's clothing. I don't want to see anything without first seeing a plant. Rules. Leaves shall be gathered only after they've fallen. The leaves are not dead just because they've fallen. An egg that's cracked is still delicate. I've become ill and I just lost my sense of taste and smell. Food has lost its appeal and become more of a utilitarian act. I started making my own time-lapse films to expand my perception of time. I wanted to see how much life was left in a leaf once it had fallen off the tree. I wanted to watch them breathe. It helped me see life differently. Capitalism is a death cult. Been quarantined in my bedroom for 10 days now. I began noticing a little speck floating around my room. It's not paranoia. My visual perception is just sharper, and my awareness of the environment is heightened because I haven't left this room. I'm convinced it's a spore. It could have flown in through the window. I'm honored and humbled in its presence. I wish I could offer myself as a substrate.
to believe that what she saw floating around her was not a spore, but in fact a tiny surveillance device. As time went on, Fern became more and more aware of the spore, but believing it was a divine happening, or perhaps an artificial elemental of her own creation, she had no cause for concern.
I have a guardian angel. I want to merge with the plant and become the ground for it to lay its roots. I started walking around with soil on my mask. So much has died so that I may live.
Whatever it was recording her, and the footage ended up in some batch data scrapped from various servers. It was scrubbed clean of any metadata and reformatted so it's impossible to know what it was shot with. To our knowledge, this is the last video before her disappearance.
Someone once told me that this world would hold me. If I fell in the right spot, I could watch the unfolding. Come to find out that I take part in molding both the inner and outer worlds, constantly droning.